Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new piercing horror story reaction video. Okay, I apologize. I don't know what the hell just happened then. I glitched, girls. I do hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful start to your late spring summer. It's gorgeous outside. It's lovely and sunny. It's very, very warm. And I'm spending zero time in it because I'm a YouTuber. But today we are back to react to some of your piercing horror stories, and I'm going to throw in some tattoo things as well into these videos now. Thank you to everyone who has commented their horror stories in my previous video. If you would like to put your own story forward to potentially be in a video in the future, please comment down below. You're more than welcome to repost the same story if you have not been included in one yet. Eventually, you will get in. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that are coming up. Come and follow me on social medias, and with all that being said, let's not beat around the bush here and get on with these horror stories. My dermal horror story. When I was 22, I got a dermal each of my collarbones. I did have surface piercings before, but they rejected. I absolutely loved them, but it took a while getting used to remembering that they were there. My left one healed perfectly, which was great, but the right, not so much. This is where the horror story begins. I bend down to pick up something off the floor, and my necklace hooked around the right dermal. Oh no! As someone who wears necklaces, the idea of having something here and being like, hooky, booky, absolutely not. I didn't realize that it happened until I stood back up and my necklace then tightened and pulled the dermal up, moving the anchors so you could see it popping through the underneath my skin. I couldn't even read it. The pain was pretty bad, but it was super gross seeing something poking up from under my skin. I can imagine. Kind of like a skin tent. Oh my God. The idea that you have just said a skin tent is unacceptable. Unacceptable. That sentence should be illegal.
That's illegal.
I realized it wasn't going to go back to normal, so I had to have them removed. Luckily, the scars are barely noticeable. Oh my gosh, you are so... Oh, I'm sorry, but like a skin tent, a skin tent. No, girls. But it's true, like, you know, as I said, I wear a necklace, so the idea of like doing this can easily get caught around something, and then if you pull it up, all of a sudden, it just suddenly tightens. No. Ouchie, girls. S Club. There ain't no dermal like a ripped out dermal. I'm glad that everything healed fine though, because that sounds horrific. I've got a tattoo horror story like you've never heard before. Oh, you're bigging it up. You're bigging it up. This better be juicy. My first tattoo was on my ribs because I was 19 and choices. That is, I guess your ribs are quite an intense place. Ribs hurt so much from what I've heard. Ribs hurt so much. So the fact that it was your first like ever like tattoo, that is a lot, girl. Yes, I went on my ribs. I was 19 and choices, but it was relatively small and only took around an hour to do. However, when I woke up the morning of the appointment, I felt pretty sick and could barely eat anything. Big tattoo taboo. Yes, guys, like if you go for any this isn't just for tattoos, any modifications, please eat food beforehand, have some sugar, get your energy levels up, because once the adrenaline starts kicking in, there's chances of you like fainting and passing out. Like if you haven't like got your liquids up, got your energy up, got your sugar levels up, just make sure that you've eaten well before any kind of like body modification. But I'd waited ages for this appointment and I was scared I'd never get a tattoo done if I didn't go that day. When I was getting tattooed, I started sweating so badly that there was handprints. Oh my God, there was handprints where my hands were, and you could see where my legs had been on the tattoo table. Like the full outline of my body. A crime scene.
Oh my Lord, something horrible has happened.
I threw up on the way home, oh no, and started feeling absolutely awful, but I didn't want to say anything because my Catholic mother would kill me if she knew I had a tattoo. Ooh, like when you're in these situations, for me personally, I would always say until you can be like self-supporting or you live on your own or live out of these situations, don't modify yourself if you can't tell the people you live with. You don't want to get kicked out because your parents have suddenly decided that they don't want a family member who has, you know, betrayed them or something. I know this sounds extreme, but this kind of stuff happens actually quite a lot, which is shocking. But if you're in these situations, just wait until you are financially stable and on your own so you don't need to rely on anyone else for support. At 2 a.m, I had to go to A&E because I'd collapsed from the pain in my lower back. Oh no, turns out I had an extremely severe kidney infection, like lose a kidney severe, which I had oh my God, which I thought was just normal back pain, and the fluid loss from sweating during my tattoo had made the pain shoot up from 3 to 100. Of course, the A&E nurse had to examine me, but I had the fresh tattoo on the same side. I had to try and give her help me eyes as she was doing my blood pressure because my mum wanted to be in the room for the examination. Luckily, it worked, but I ended up having to go to the hospital for 4 days. Wow, because my veins had started collapsed. Oh, all this because of a tattoo. All this because of a tattoo, and you didn't eat and you get, oh my God, you didn't have your fluids up. Me, the nurses, and the 70-year-old woman in the bed opposite me conspired to make sure my mum never saw the healing tattoo while I was in the hospital gown. Oh gosh, I get that sometimes you're in certain situations, you really want to get modifications, you really want to get tattoos and stuff done, but like, if you're still living with your pet, if you're still living with your parents, I would always say, please just don't do these kind of things, because what this could have ended up so much worse. And I just worry that like sometimes if you do secret things behind your parents' back, not only you're gonna lose their trust, but also, you know, you don't want situations like this to happen and, you know, end up dead. When you said, you know, I've never heard a story like this before, you win, girl! My piercing horror story. So, I got my ears pierced as a baby, and throughout my childhood, my mum would force me to wear earrings on special occasions, even though I didn't like it. Choo choo. So of course, this meant I had to wear them at Christmas. Because I was a small child who still believed in Santa, I was super excited and running all over the place, and I accidentally bumped my ear into the corner of a low table. Oh no! And the stud was pushed inside my ear! Oh my God, you were so young as well, you probably would have screamed the house down. Luckily for me, my family immediately came to help, and my uncle had to scoop it out with a needle while I cried in pain in my father's lap. Oh no, you poor thing. At least I ended up getting my present early because my family felt bad for me. They should feel bad, forcing you to wear earrings you don't want to wear. I'm not trying to slag off your family, but I hate the idea that your parents was forcing you to wear earrings even though you didn't want to. Like, it's just unacceptable. Like, it's just totally unacceptable. You can give them certain items of clothing, you can dress them up a certain way or whatever and do that, that's fine, but like when you start actually like physically modifying their body, it's unacceptable. Like, unless it's something like serious, like a health issue, just use clip-on earrings or something. Like, you don't need to actually pierce them and then force the child afterwards to wear them if they don't want to. Unacceptable. So a couple of years ago, I had 2 piercings on the back of my neck. Oh, I love my Nape piercings. I miss them so much. I love them so much. I was walking into work one day and it was really icy and I slipped. Oh God, you will land on your piercings. When I hit the floor, I suddenly felt cold and sick. Got up and went straight into work and asked someone to have a look. Well, when I slipped, the tag of my coat got caught on my bars, and when I landed, my knee landed on my coat, and which proceeded to rip the bar halfway out. Oh no! As I was in work, we just put a big plaster over it, but when I got home and could really look, there was no way of saving them. Safe to say, I missed them, but have 4 little lump scars on my neck to remind me of them. Wonderful. You can still very, very faintly feel the back of my neck, like the scars where they were. Isn't it awful? Like when you hit part of your body, like your knee or your elbow or something, and all of a sudden it just makes you feel like violently sick. I don't understand why that happens. I guess it's to do with the adrenaline, with it being the back of your neck, and you like ripping it. Absolutely not. No, that sounds absolutely horrificy whifficky. Lip piercing horror story. This isn't necessarily the piercing process itself, more of what happened after. So this isn't going to be super graphic, but it still sucks and caused directly by my piercer. So I got my lip done. It was simple and nicely healed, and everything seemed perfect. I took great care and only changed it when they said it was appropriate. When I went back to them after about 6 months, I asked about getting a horseshoe bar for my piercing instead of a stud because I really wanted one. They gave me 2, a purple one and a black one. I loved them until about a week later. I had been wearing the purple horseshoe bar and went over to a friend's house for a sleepover and noticed my piercing wasn't feeling the best. But I just brushed it off being sore because of the new hoop. But little did I know, the paint on the hoop was chipping off onto my still somewhat new piercing. A lot of these like colors you can't actually get by anodizing it, so sometimes it's like painted on and it can chip. I've had this before when I had like light pink jewelry a long time ago, and like I had them in my nose and I had a couple in my ears, and the paint on the actual, it was the spikes themselves, the paint on the spikes started chipping off because it wasn't anodized. It was like actually like painted on. So this can happen, unfortunately. What I didn't know is that the paint was going to cause an infection and I had to get antibiotics for it. Oh my gosh. all over a hoop my piercer suggested I buy. 2 years later, I still have the piercing and haven't trusted any other places for hoops since. I tend to just get like the balls on the end to be colored and then like the hoops themselves just to be silver, just to be safe. If you're unsure, you have to make sure that you're just doing your research on all the different kinds of like bars and things that you could be buying. I'm not going to go into every single different type now because I'll be here for an hour, but you know, just make sure that you are doing your research into what you're actually buying. Tattoo horror story, or how I managed to avoid one. My boyfriend and I went to a tourist town on vacation last year and I found out that there were a couple of tattoo shops up there. Newly bitten by the tattoo bug. Oh, I know the feeling, girl. I wanted to check it out, and since they had walk-ins, we go in and say hello to the first artist we see, and I ask if there's any portfolios or selection of flash pieces my boyfriend and I could take a look at. He gives me a funny look and says, "Flash? This isn't the 90s. In a way, I kind of agree with what he said. If you're going to get tattoos, for me personally, I'd always say, like, get something that you at least have thought about before. I think spontaneous tattoos and all that kind of stuff is like, if that's what you want, sure, but just remember that, you know, without research and without doing like any kind of real preparation for a tattoo, like it's not potentially going to end up well. I don't know. Don't ever get like trendy tattoos. Like I remember the amount of people that would get like back in like the 90s and the early noughties getting like the tribal stuff on their arms. I bet all those guys feel stupid now. Obviously, I am very new to the tattoo world, and I'm in no way going to be like trying to gatekeep who and who should be getting tattoos. Maybe give your tattoo a little bit more thought than just going into a studio that you've just found and just gone, "Can I have something from your book?" It just feels a little bit flippant. A little wary, but we peek into the artist's portfolios anyway. Some of the line work wasn't really steady, and there were definitely a couple photos of infected pieces. Like, yikes. It's so weird because we've had this with like piercings as well, but there's been like artists will use ears that look disgusting as in like the promo for the jewelry. It's like, what are you doing? Like, it looks disgusting. The artist we were talking with said he could do anything we wanted, just take it off Google, which means he was completely fine with stealing other people's artwork. Another couple came in after us and they wanted to get small hearts on their wrists for their anniversary, which with artists wanted to charge $150 and charge more to the husband since he wanted their wedding date underneath it. Needless to say, I'm grabbing my boyfriend and we got out of there, and I'll be directing my boyfriend to some good local artist when he's ready for his own ink. Personally, from your story, it feels like you were kind of doing it just for the sake of it rather than actually wanting tattoos. I'm glad that you didn't get anything done from this person. The price wise, I don't know tattoos enough to know like normal price. All I know is the prices that I've been quoted from my studio. I have done some research, but when it comes to like America and dollars and everything, I can't really say. Like $150 for a heart and some like writing underneath it, that's like about £100. I mean, if you're going into a tattoo studio where they have to pay the owner of the building as well and not just themselves, my artist that I go to charges me a little bit less than what a walk-in would be because he has his own studio. He owns the studio. When people are inside a tattoo studio that is owned by a company and they happen just to work there, you do get charged more money because you have to pay the tattoo artist for their work, but the artist also has to then give money to the establishment for letting them work there. So you do end up paying more money in those places than if you go to someone who owns their own tattoo studio. So $150, I don't think that seems that much. However, if the work was absolutely horrific, then yes, don't do it. I've watched enough of these videos to think it's time to share my own piercing story. This might be a long one. Well, Logan, tell it to me, bitch. I was between the ages of 7 and 9. I'm nearly 18 now, so I didn't exactly remember everything leading up to the getting both my lobes pierced, but I remember I wanted them. My mum didn't know how bad piercing guns were, and we were on a low income, so we couldn't afford to go to a tattoo/piercing parlor. You guessed it, we went to Glasgow. Nothing went wrong when getting the piercings. Took it like a champ, and surprisingly, the person did the piercing well. Yes, used a piercing gun, but they didn't miss the mark or anything like that. The nightmare, besides going to Claire's, begins quickly into the healing process. I was told to twist my piercings to help heal them. Bye! I'm out!
I'm out.
I am forever going to be using "I'm out" in my videos. I wish I knew where this idea came from, that you have to twist your piercings in order to heal them. I don't, like, Who thought that was a good idea? It'd be like, imagine going to like the hospital and I don't know, you've cut your arm open and like scabs are forming and everything over it, and they come up to you and go, every single day we need you to get like your nails and scratch off all of the scab. It's like a natural way of your body healing. That's your body trying to heal. The inside of the hole, pretend your piercing is this thick. Like the inside of the skin is trying to heal round that, like round your piercing. When you wash your piercing in the morning, it will loosen up, bits will come off, and that's fine. But when you're literally actively like twisting the piercing, you're just ripping open all of the wounds that your ear is healing. Like it's healing, and you're basically ripping it all open, starting the healing process again, back from like the very beginning. I don't get where this idea came from. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. What I think sometimes is the reason why Claire's accessories and all these places might tell you to do it is because piercing guns and like the bars and the studs that you get from them with the butterfly clips are so small and thin that any amount of swelling or any kind of like crust that coming off will literally like glue them together, I guess, because there's no space. And I guess they're saying twist it so it doesn't get stuck. If you're gonna use wrong jewelry for earrings to begin with, you can't be then surprised that it doesn't heal proper. I don't know. I was told to twist them to help heal them, was given no aftercare routine, and told not to wash them when showering or bathing. It just gets worse! Jesus, Mary Magdalene. No after, I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised that Claire's didn't give you aftercare. Like, I don't know why I'm acting as if like Claire's is now suddenly this pristine place that's clearly know what they're doing. Unhinged! So I told not to clean or wash them when showering or bathing. So I did just that. Soon my piercing began to ooze and pus. Of course, it began to ooze and pus, and we thought that was normal, so we left them alone. That's not normal, babe. Oh, how wrong we were. My ears began to eat my piercings. We found out later that I was allergic to the type of jewelry that was used, of course. Just anything to add the story to be even worse. So I have a scar from top to bottom on the back of my left ear from a past surgery. Within 2 nights after originally ignoring the swelling, a large skin sac formed on top of my scar. Oh no, it was extremely painful. Painkillers didn't work, and I lost sleep due to not being able to sleep properly. I had an emergency doctor's appointment, so they pulled out a massive needle. I understandably freaked out. I was held down so I would keep still. The doctor drained out the sac, which was full of bacteria, pus, dead skin, blood, and the piercing itself. Oh my god. This one is a lot. This one is a lot. Oh my god. This is beyond unhinged. No aftercare given. Told to twist the piercings. Told not to clean yourself in the shower. Like, what? I actually don't really have words to explain that or talk about. Like, hi, Roly. I was 17 when this happened. I went to a tattoo party, lied about being 18 because, of course, I did. Naughty, naughty, lying about your age. I've done that many times when I was a teenager. And I wanted snake eyes.
That was a choice.
Everyone, including me, had been you were drinking and smoking. And when I finally got it done, I bled so much. Yeah, don't get any modifications if you have been drinking. It thins your blood. You'll bleed so much. You will bleed so much more, especially getting things like tongue piercings. Like if you're someone who's got like loads of veins and you're getting a snake eye piercing as well, you're not even getting like a generic tongue piercing, you're getting a snake eye piercing, which in amongst itself is a choice and awful for you. The chance of you piercing through a vein is going to be very, very high. And you've been drinking. You could have died. I bled so much. I had to close my mouth as it was filling with blood and walk upstairs. It was in a basement of a real bar venue that they rented out, I assume, and had to go to the bathroom where I finally went in and opened my mouth and so much blood fell out. Of course, because of the alcohol. I had the piercing for 3 months because I kept swallowing the balls and gave up. I'm surprised you kept it for that long. I have a scar from the Sharpie he used. You have a scar from the Sharpie he used? I have a scar from the Sharpie he used and tell everyone not to get it done. Was the Sharpie like a blade? Again, this is one of those stories that I don't know how to respond. You have a scar from the Sharpie. What? I am surprised you didn't bleed out. R.I.P. Back when I was in college over a decade ago, because I'm old. Oh, I know the feeling, girl. I left sixth form, which is our college, in 2008. So I'm very old as well. We can be OAPs together. Oh. Why is it not working? You're a mess, woman. I went to a piercing studio with one of my friends, a friend of mine that had a few facial piercings and said it was a good place. I decided to get an industrial, having no idea how hard they were to heal. Oh my God. Industrial piercings is not a piercing to start with. I learned the hard way. Well, the guy who did the piercing insisted on doing it with two hoops to start with because it would be easier to heal. But months later, I had managed to get them healed and went to a different piercer back home to get the bar put in. First of all, don't get piercings with hoops. Like, what are you doing? That's awful. But second of all, like industrial piercings, getting to and not having them with the bar in to begin with, so you haven't lined them up properly. Migration can happen, and then when you try to put an actual long bar in, you might have to then bend the bar or reshape the industrial bar to fit because your piercings have migrated or moved. Get them done with the bar, and if you really don't like it or it's taken a really long time to heal, then change it to 2 singular bars. The look on that piercer's face when I told him why I had 2 hoops instead of a bar to start with was priceless. He ended up having to bend one end of the bar because the first guy had lined the hole up perfectly for the bar, but the other wouldn't work with a straight bar. My point exactly. It wasn't lined up properly. I kept it in for a while, but because of the bend in the bar, it was putting constant pressure on my ear. After getting it tugged on by a hairdresser about 5 times in one haircut, I was getting a haircut, babes! It started acting up and I got sick of it and took it out. Thanks for the constant pressure, I now have permanent notches on my ear. Oh no! Get it in one go. Don't get 2 single piercings and then try to match it up. You need to have it measured, you need to have it positioned, and you need the bar to be put in straight away. I'm sure there are people out there who have had 2 single piercings and it's happened to be fine. Don't do that though. Like, the chance of it actually being perfect and lined up perfectly afterwards, no. Just get it done in one go. Well, guys, I'm well and truly aboard that trigger train. Choo-choo, speeding down the railway, about to crash over a cliff and plunge to my death. Bye! I'm not bending down today because my knees. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a lot. Again, like, I love doing these piercing horror stories. I love actually like reading out your own stuff and seeing what actually happens to you guys instead of just watching videos that you send me. It's quite nice to have like a little bit of a difference. So I will be carrying on doing these every month. But thank you to everyone who just submit your own stories. As always, please please submit your stories down below. As I said before, if you have submitted a story and I haven't read it out, you're more than welcome to resubmit the same story underneath this one, and hopefully we'll be in the next video. Wow. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so don't miss any videos that do come out. Come and follow me on all my social medias. Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All that stuff is linked down below. Today's Twitch shout out goes to Punkboy Cutie. Thank you for following me over on Twitch. Come follow me on Twitch. Come have some fun. I'm sorry, I'm just disheveled now at the moment. A massive shout out to my lovely patrons whose names you can see on the side here. Thank you for being my patron. You guys are wonderful. But an extra special shout out to my top tier patrons: Aurora666, Benjamin Baker, Bethard, Boushot93, Brenner, Kaz.Thom, Shell Herman, Christina Carl, Con Pemberton, Jan Anida, Heather McFarland, IAP, Joanna Krause, Caitlin Wright, Kelly Bowser, Chloe Louise, Laura Alice, Monica Corgi, Petra Selenis, Rachel the Seabiscuit, Robin Scott, Sam Perfect, and Steph Utek. Thank you for being my top tier patrons. You guys are delicious. There is a link down below as well if you would like to become a patron. Be fabulous, be amazing, be gay, be everything you want to be, and don't let any bitch tell you that you can't be you. Why is that? Because you are flawless, girl. I didn't mess it up this time. Wonderful.